greatest charms, the largest arms, and the words that do the most harm, John Arhitis, and we're going to talk the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. So first, quite a few matters out of the Mile Square City this time around. So that large development at 800 Madison Street, the AvalonBay, you guys might recall that they were unsuccessful in winning an appeal with the Red Leveling Board back in October. Well, they have filed suit. That was just on Friday, and I got a copy of that lawsuit yesterday. So we're going to tell you what that means for the city going forward. And in a very entertaining political battle, if you ask me, you saw U.S. Representative Rob Menendez and one of his opponents, Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bhalla, going at it over a story about doing an interview out of the Hoboken Mayor's office. So we're going to chat a little about that. And we're also going to talk about Liberty State Park. New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection was supposed to have a hearing yesterday, and they did not, as the turmoil about the park continues behind the scenes mostly, but we're going to tell a little about that. Also going to talk about that Kearny power plant that's no longer happening and what investments will be made in Hoboken instead. All that and a whole lot more right after this word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John Arhitis. So let's talk about this AvalonBay lawsuit. So again, this is about this Red Leveling and Stabilization Board decision that happened back in October. And the letter was unanimously the board unanimously rejected that appeal, and they were seeking a rent control exemption. So the lawsuit says a whole lot. It's 37 pages, and the simplest point is this. So it's a 217-unit complex, and it's at 800 Madison Street, as I said earlier. And the hearing came after 5 tenants at AvalonBay filed a lawsuit, and they were represented by the law firm where the Hoboken's tenant advocate works. And this was about an unconscionable rent increase. They were talking up to 28.2%. And that was about, I'd say, 4 or 5 months after Mayor Ravi Bhalla sent a letter to the AvalonBay CEO owners talking about how this was a problem. And around that same time, Ramon Rivera's law firm, and he's counsel for the Rent Leveling Board, they were retained to investigate the rent control exemption. Now, if you recall, the board, in their decision, which was unanimous 5-0, and they said the exemption was not filed in a timely fashion, therefore it was null and void. It was like it never happened, in other words. So with all that, I mean, there's a lot of technical language about rent control, and the developer, who coincidentally was actually Frank Rea for a short period of time before he sold it after going into bankruptcy. And it's quite an expensive purchase, $129 million. Now, the interesting parts, at least to me, not that any of it was boring, but the most interesting parts is the political implications here. So one line here says this: the mayor's and the chair's position were motivated not by the facts or by the law, but by their respective political aspirations. Indeed, at the time of the October 2023 hearing, Board Chair Ravi Cordova was in the midst of a hotly contested election for the city's first ward council seat, on which Mayor Bhalla's control of the city council was dependent. Now, they then say, in a continuation, of course, that on December 11th, Rivera sent a letter to AvalonBay, said that they could get $660,000 in fines. This was apparently leaked to certain media. And then 2 days later, the board approved, memorialized the resolution, and that was the same day that Bhalla announced he'd be running in the 8th Congressional District. So some strong charges here. Obviously, this is going to get tied up in the courts for quite a while, but we're going to keep our eyes on it and let you know what transpires. So speaking of that 8th District race, let's talk a little bit about Ravi Bhalla versus Rob Menendez. So you guys may have seen last week, I'm pretty sure it was Thursday, you had NJ Spotlight News via their chat box program. They interviewed both Congressman Menendez and Mayor Bhalla, and Rep. Menendez decided to do the interview in studio in person, while Mayor Bhalla decided to do his interview virtually. And as it turns out, he did that interview from the mayor's office, which many people didn't really think much of at the time. Most people didn't even recognize it. But then two members of the city council who are certainly opponents of the administration by any definition, that's 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher and 4th Ward Councilman Ruben Ramos, both potential mayoral contenders for 2025, they came out and highlighted this municipal code that was violated. And it says, no elected official nor any employee of his or her office nor any person appointed to, employed by, or contracting for the city may use or authorize the use of any public property directly or indirectly for the purpose of political campaigning. Interestingly, if this ordinance is violated, as it's written today, the conduct should be reported to the business administrator or corporation counsel, who then reports it to the mayor and the city council. So obviously a bit of irony. And when I spoke to Ruben Ramos, he said, this is just another example of a flagrant disregard for ethics. The mayor's office cannot be used as a campaign backdrop. This type of behavior is unacceptable. And when I spoke to Councilwoman Fisher, she said, yet another example on a long list of how Mayor Bhalla exploits his office and taxpayer-owned assets for his personal use. She's also said she'd like the Department of Community Affairs to investigate. So, with that, Mayor Bhalla admitted that this was an error through his campaign spokesman, that's Rob Horowitz. He said the mayor realizes it was a mistake to do the interview from a conference room at City Hall and will not make the same mistake again. And then the most interesting part of this was not actually the story, it was actually the aftermath, where you saw the mayor and the congressman really just trading some serious bare-knuckle punches on Twitter, which I posted about on my page. So I'm not going to get into that any further, but there's plenty of screenshots there to take a look at, and also active posts. I don't think anyone deleted anything. Then, on a simpler note, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection was supposed to host a meeting on Liberty State Park. That was at the terminal where they've held a number of public meetings, but about 6 hours or so before the meeting was supposed to happen, they said due to significant public interest, they were going to have to postpone. Now, the specific language didn't say much more than that. But what's interesting is that the move comes shortly after the state's top two legislators, of course, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, State Senate President Nick Scutari, came out in a letter and said that they want that Liberty State Park Task Force, that's 23 members, that was formed in 2022. They want them to have a larger seat at the table and have the revitalization of the park have more direction from this task force, which in theory sounds fine. The problem is when the task force was created, a lot of environmentalists took umbrage with the fact that people that are aligned with Paul Fireman, of course, he's the billionaire that owns the Liberty National Golf Course, would have too much sway in the process. So we're going to keep our eye on that. We're going to go to break, and right after we come back, I'm going to be sitting down with Jersey City Ward E Councilman James Solomon. All that and a whole lot more right after this break.
Pinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Growing up can be tough on kids. So much is going on in the world that can cause depression or anxiety. Unusual behavior for more than 6 months could mean they need help. Don't wait. For real-time mental health support and counseling, call New Jersey's Children's System of Care. CSOC offers free mental health supports, substance use treatment, and services for intellectual or developmental disabilities for all kids up to age 21. Call now, 1-877-652-7624.
Hudson County View, live on Uncut. John Arhitis, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, today my guest is Jersey City Ward E Councilman James Solomon. Councilman, thanks for coming back in.
John, thanks for having me. I like the new setup.
All right, glad to hear it. So let's start with the obvious one. So of course, you're on everyone's short list, or almost everyone. I guess I can't speak for the whole populace. 2025 Jersey City Mayor, where do you stand today?
Haven't made any final decisions. We're almost 2 years out from the election. I just think it's a unique opportunity for Jersey City to have sort of progressive and ethical leadership in the mayor's office for the next 4 years after that. So I'm looking seriously at a run, but haven't made any final decisions. And I think most folks are caring about what their day-to-day life looks like. Whether they can afford the rent, whether they can afford their property taxes. So I'm going to remain focused on the issues that folks care about, and let 2025 come when it comes.
Any timeline on that?
No, folks have announced for mayor before folks have announced for president. So it's a ways away into the future. And again, I think what voters care about is, are you delivering and making their lives better? Not, whatever stuff that political insiders focus on. So, my focus is, how do we keep tenants in their homes? How do we get property taxes under control? How do we ensure Liberty State Park remains free and green, which you were just talking about? Those are things that matter, and delivering on that is why you're in office.
Fair enough. All right, so let's touch on a few of those issues. So as you know, the Portside Towers residents have filed a federal lawsuit because that decision that was made by the Jersey City Rent Leveling Board has not been enforced yet. So your thoughts on that and where this could be heading? Yeah, no,
I think I give extraordinary credit to the Portside tenants for their organizing. They've really brought to the fore significant challenges with the city's rent control enforcement system. Now, I was glad that I think the board did the correct ruling, which is to say, look, if a landlord doesn't have the documentation to prove that their building is exempt from rent control, we can't just take their word for it, right? We can't have sort of the honor system with multi-billion-dollar corporations. We should put tenants first. And I think the Rent Leveling Board's ruling was correct. Now we've got to make sure that it's well enforced. And so I think that, I understand why they've taken the tact of going to the federal lawsuit, and look forward to ultimately the ultimate result being those buildings have rent control, any illegal rent payments are returned to the tenants, and there's sort of clear, direct, and strong enforcement of the city's rent control laws.
All right, very good. Yeah. Now, the last council meeting was a little unusual in the fact that you had quite a number of speakers that were 6, 8, 10 years old, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older in a couple cases, but they were there with their parents and their coaches talking about the Pershing Field ice rink, and obviously there's some concern. Obviously, it's been closed over a year, and it looks like it's going to be at least another year. What do you think the city can or should do here?
Yeah, as a former hockey player, I feel very strongly that this is an important recreational amenity for our residents, and we have to do everything in our power to get it open. We have had meetings with Councilman Saleh, Councilman Boggiano, Director McLaughlin, Director Patel, basically the core folks in the city who need to make the decisions to get this going. And I think our first step is to have a clear set of choices and plans, right? What is it going to take to get the rink open as soon as possible? What would it take for a longer set of repairs to make sure the rink is in good shape for 30 plus years? So we need very quickly good information in front of us to make that decision. So I think the first step is to get someone in who really knows what they're talking about when it comes to ice rinks, a little bit of a specialized knowledge base, give us the information, partner with the community groups, and then move forward with a plan. So I'm happy to be working with the parents and really pushing the folks in the city who need to make a decision on this to get us the information we need and then move forward.
Okay, great. Now, another thing that's come up at the last couple meetings, I'm not sure exact number, but you got some people that are passionate about what's going on in the Middle East, and some of those people have expressed dissatisfaction with the fact that the resolution in support of a ceasefire ended up failing. So, and there's also some sort of screening this evening about some of the atrocities committed there. So, like, where do you stand on all this and how this is shaken out and continues to shake out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, as a councilman, the thing that I always think about is how do I represent Jersey City and how do I put Jersey City first? And so I think my core responsibility is to do everything in my power to keep folks safe here, to make sure that there isn't any rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, the things that can really sort of tear apart our community, because we have to live, as neighbors with each other. And so I understand the passions. I understand, when you see such tragedy, and so many people, innocent people that have died initially in Israel on October 7th, tens of thousands in Gaza since then. I always just think my focus has to be Jersey City and how do we keep our community together and whole. And it's difficult when such powerful forces are at work, but that's always going to be my focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not going tonight, right? No. Okay. Now, with that said, let's switch gears a bit to 8th Congressional District. I know you haven't formally endorsed anyone in the race, but is there a candidate that you favor at this time?
No, but I would say first, God bless competitive elections, both for the content on Twitter, but more importantly, because in Hudson County we are so used to a backroom deal deciding who represents us, being dictated to us who our representatives are going to be, and I think it is good today and hopefully for years into the future that we have genuine competition in our elections, that we have people who offer real choices to the voters, because it forces elected officials to build coalitions and build platforms that I think truly serve people. So I haven't made any decisions at this stage on how getting involved in that race, but I'm really glad that Mayor Bhalla is challenging the congressman, because we've had too many coronations and not enough elections.
Very good. James, don't go anywhere. Folks, keep your attention right here. We're going to be right back after this break.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2720.
County View live on Uncut. Still John Arhaitis, still here with Jersey City Ward E Councilman James Solomon. So, talking about that congressional now, I heard that there's some sort of private event where you're a co-host for Mayor Bhalla tomorrow. Is that right?
So we're having an introduction to make sure that you can have a conversation, start a conversation. And I think what I was very clear about when we talked about this event is trust has to be earned. It's not just going to be given, right? It's not going to be a type of thing where people just get endorsed because they're running. Because again, competition's good, but you've got to earn it. So yes, there's going to be a conversation with some progressive activists and leaders with Mayor Bhalla, and we'll see where that goes. But again, conversation and competition in elections are going to be good for voters in Jersey City and Hudson County.
All right. Now, with that said, related is the Senate race, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
you have an interesting dichotomy there between the First Lady, Tammy Murphy, and you got Congressman Andy Kim. I assume you're going to endorse Andy Kim at some point, but tell us about your thoughts on that race.
Yeah, again, no final decisions have been made. And again, we are in a much better place because there is competition in this election. If there wasn't competition, again, we were just being told who the senator was going to be, then we wouldn't have a chance to ask tough questions, to get policy commitments, to ensure that the voters' interests are put first. So I thought it was great when Congressman Kim announced he was running. First Lady announced a couple months after that. I've known the congressman since he ran in 2018. I did a fundraiser for him in 2018, so I've had a much longer relationship with him to build that type of trust for me personally. But we'll see where that race goes in the next couple months. But I think it's, again, great that we have a choice.
All right, point taken. Now, when you're talking about both these races, whether it's the media or just the general public, a lot of emphasis on the nepotism and the coronation, as you use and many others have used. What do you think it says about New Jersey that these are the conversations we're having in these kind of elections?
I mean, it is important to always emphasize to folks that we're a little unique here, right? That most other states have competitive primaries. That there's a study that showed that no incumbent state legislator has lost a primary in, I think, nearly 15 years. And you look at rest of the country, and 30% or 20% of incumbents may lose in primaries. So the power of our machine to dictate to the people who the representatives are is unique. And I don't think it's good, right? Our taxes are through the roof. Rents are unaffordable. You can't argue, I think, that across the state that this type of politics serves people. So I think it's really important that we have that type of change. That's why for many, many years I've been against the ballot system of the line, whereby the party bosses can rig the ballot in favor of their candidates. And as you know, that position harms my potential political future, right? It doesn't make me as favorable to those in power. But the whole point of being in public service is to fight for what's right and to do what's right regardless of what political consequences come from that. So I think it's just really important for folks to know that what's happening here with two genuinely competitive races is what happens across the country. And it's an aberration today, but it should be the norm.
Very good. Now, let's talk a little on a lighter note, or it's at least a different one. Something that you hear about a lot downtown, as you know, is pedestrian safety. Whether they're talking about just crossing the street, e-bike delivery riders, stuff like that. Anything you or anyone else on the council got your attention, Vision Zero related, anything like that?
Absolutely. I mean, it is one of the most important issues facing the city. We've had a number of deaths in Jersey City on roads in the last year. We've had a number of hit and runs. We had a 5-year-old child in my district who was hit in a hit and run. So it has to be on the top of our policy agenda to be able to address. Now, I'm proud that I think we've made significant progress. We've made safety improvements on downtown, Columbus Drive, Grand Street, Jersey Ave, Washington Street, Green Street. So we've made progress, but we know it's not enough. And I think there's two big things I want to focus on going forward. The first is enforcement. We need to have more enforcement on our streets. At the end of the day, engineering is great. Engineering is so important, but we need more enforcement. Connected to that is the state needs to give us the ability to put in speeding cameras. On our major streets, when people go 40, 45, 50 miles an hour, that can easily result in death. New York City has speed cameras. They've been shown to reduce serious accidents and serious crashes significantly. We need those here, but we need the state to let us do it, because right now we don't have that authorization. So those are a few things that are really important for me, and I think just the message is it is at the top of the agenda, and it is always something we're going to focus on and push on.
All right, Councilman, we've got about a minute or so. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, let me sort of talk about two things that I think are interconnected, which is Liberty State Park and the New Jersey Turnpike expansion, because they both go to the core of the future of the city. On the Turnpike expansion, if that goes through, if we end up eminent domaining playgrounds and homes and land to make the highway wider, where the Holland Tunnel remains a 2-lane bottleneck, that is going to make our streets more congested, that is going to make pollution worse, and we really need to get the state to rethink what they're doing. And on Liberty State Park, we have the DEP, I think, with a very thoughtful compromise, one that balances ecosystem restoration with the needs for active recreation in an urban park. And that plan is now in jeopardy, or at least being attacked. I don't know the results because of power brokers at the state level. And on both issues, we need to make sure that the public's interest wins out and not special interests. And I think that's what really connects those two, and I think they're just so important for the future of the city.
Councilman, thank you for joining
Sure.
me. Always a pleasure.
Thanks,
Ladies
Sean.
and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John Arhitis for just a couple more for this week. So let's talk about this gas-powered power plant in Kearny and also what this means for the Hoboken Log Slip project. So last week, NJ Transit made the decision that they are pulling the plug, I guess pun intended, on this Kearny power plant, and they're actually going to invest $88 million for what's been referred to as the Hoboken Log Slip project. So let me tell you what that means. First, we heard from State Senator Raj Mukherjee, Assemblyman John Allen, and Assemblywoman Jessica Ramirez. Of course, they're all from the 32nd Legislative District. And this is some of the things that they said regarding this decision over at the state. So, building a new dirty energy plant in the middle of a densely populated environmental justice community didn't make sense, Mukherjee said, and he's also the vice chair of the New Jersey Senate Transportation Committee. And he said, I applaud NJT's leadership for investing instead in renewable energy alternatives and appreciate the dedication of funding to fill the Hoboken Log Slip Canal, which will enhance transportation efficiency, alleviate congestion, help mitigate flooding, the effects of climate change, and create backup capacity for emergency rail service. Now, so what is this log slip and fill project that they're speaking of? Well, it's would allow NJ Transit to operate train service longer and recover more quickly from storm events, and that's according to NJ Transit. It's right on the Hoboken-Jersey City border, not too far from the terminal. It's actually adjacent to Hoboken Yard, and it was affected deeply, like most of the city was, during Superstorm Sandy. So that's an interesting development. I mean, that power plant just literally died on the vine, and we also heard later on from Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bhalla, who of course was happy with the news. He came out against the 15% NJ Transit tax fare hike, like a number of electeds did in Hoboken and Jersey City, but he noted that we should give NJ Transit their due when they do something right, and that's what he felt about this situation. On a bit of a happy note to close the show, which doesn't happen particularly often, last week on Friday, NJCU announced that their undergraduate and graduate enrollments are both up over 26%. Now, that's for the spring semester, of course. And according to their enrollment management team, the new graduate enrollment is up 27.31%, while the undergraduate enrollment is 26.45%. And according to their interim president, Andres Acebo, he said this is the direct result of a concerted and collaborative effort to strengthen an institutional mission of meeting a population where they are, breaking down institutional and systemic barriers of access, and a deliberate focus on the sustainability of a mission for an extraordinary community of overwhelmingly working class first generation students. So with that, just a quick rundown of what's going on Thursday, because there's actually quite a bit. So you heard from Councilman Solomon that they're doing this meet and greet with Ravi Bhalla. So that's happening. And you also know Hudson County Commissioner Bill O'Day is doing a fundraiser for his mayoral campaign. And North Bergen Mayor Nick Sacco is doing an event that is commemorating or celebrating, if you will, his service in the state Senate. As we talked about a couple weeks ago, that was 3 decades of service. And also tomorrow, we're going to swear at a new North Bergen police chief. That's Robert Farley. So a lot to look forward to there. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching Hudson Media Group. Follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.